Hello everyone, my name is Mary J. D. Loon. I'm your demonstrator for today, so let's discuss about the basic principles of learning and implication. So as a member of your community, you have been living closely with mothers and children, and you will had also observe how children explore and learn from their surroundings, right? So when we are observe, we can get some useful ideas about learning by thinking about how babies and young children learn. So let's observe that the small children learning, they are playing, and they are playing, they can learn, right? So let's identify some steps they go through how they learn. So the first steps is observation. The word observation, the children is observing a things. For example, watching a movie. Can you imagine that when they watching a movie, they are carefully observed? Yes, they are very carefully observed. So the next, they also try to use other sensing method like listening, touching, or tasting. They will start to ask why, how. The next steps is imitate or copy the same action saying, let's me do it myself. Learning takes place by repeating the action and again. So the children usually start to ask another to observe them so they can show that they are able to do the activity they have just learned, right? So when they are performing actions for themselves, having learned something. So can you observe that the small children is playing over and over drama and crying always, and after that they learn something. How about our us? How about us? We are younger one, you are adult one. We have principles of learning. The first is principles of readiness. The principle of readiness implies a degree of willingness and eagerness of the individuals to learn something new. Individuals learn best when they are physically, mentally, emotionally ready to learn, and they do not learn well if there is no reason for learning. So getting the audience ready to learn, create interest, and showing the value of the subject matter and provide the continuous mental, physically challenge. So that is need to find a way of helping them to get stage being ready. So as a teacher, we have a lesson. So we conduct first an icebreaker or do exercises to learner to get ready to your lesson. And next, principles of exercise. The principles of exercise, it is the things that are most often repeated and the one that are best to remember. Your audience will be learned best and retain information longer when they have meaningful practices or repetition. The human mind is very forgetfulness, and it is can really retain, evaluate, apply concepts or practice after single exposure. The audience will not learn complex tasks in a single season. They learn by applying what they have been told or shown. For example, if I am the learner and if you are the learner, I am your teacher. I show you pictures, video that once you always remember, and you can evaluate. Not also evaluate. You can also learn more by that picture that I see to you, because you can imagine the real world, real things. Exercise state that those things that are most often repeated are the one that are best to remember. So even though there is limited technology around you, need to find a way to people to be able to use it. Possible by the time limiting practice seasons, by ringing a bell, or by timing people so that even though they only have limited time, they stay interested because they do know they will get a turn. So the principles of effect. The third one is the principles of effect. So the effect, it is straightened when complied by the pleasant of satisfying feeling, and that learner is weakened by associated with unpleasant feeling. The learner will strive to continue learning as long as it's provide a pleasant effect. Positive reinforcement more likely to lead to success and motivate the learner. So as the health educator or as an educator, you should recognize the feature and tell your audience how well they are doing. So you can make sure that they actually see and understand the good effects of a new technology. So you conduct a quizzes or tests that you make sure that all of your topic they have a good effects and you know the learning of your learner. And the next is principle of primary. Primacy create a strong impression which may be very difficult to change. Example, at the first place, for example, mothers is taught a family techniques about preparation of replacement feeding. So there are formula instead of breastfeed. You as a health or as a health educator will have a difficult task correcting bad habits and reteach the correct ones. So it's difficult to a teacher or it's difficult these principles to at the first you teach a wrong teach it's difficult to change into a right. You may have to do something to try and break the pattern misconceptions here. Say we are starting again or circulate the leaflet that explain how the misconceptions came about. So as being an educator, you should present your subject matters in a logical order, step by step. Then after that, make sure that the audience has already learned and understand the preceding steps. So that you can change the strong impression to a good one. So, next, principle of recency. Principles of recency, the most recently learned are the best remembered. So the most recently learned, as an example of this, it is easier for a mother to recall what the children were fed this morning than to remember what they were fed 3 days ago. So as a future educator, should repeat and restate or re-emphasize important points at the end of the lesson to help the audience remember them. Right? So, we should be repeat, restate, re-emphasize to be it's to remember to our learner. And next, principle of intensity. Principles of intensity implies that the learner will learn more from the real things than the formula from a substitute. For example, a teacher will learn more from demonstration of the bed net utilization which is shown to her in her own house than from teaching her just a talk. So it's hard to us to learn more if just talking, no visualization, no showing a picture like that. So as a learner is likely to gain greater understanding of a task by performing them rather than merely reading about them. So the best example is demonstration and role playing will do much to increase the learning experience. And next is principle of freedom. Principles of freedom, it is audience force learn something the more difficult it is for them to learn. So it's hard to a learner if you force to be learned that they are not physically ready to your lesson or they cannot get over the past lesson. So it's hard to a learner to force to learn something if they are not ready or physically, mentally. It's useless. If you are bring about the readiness, then you can undo the problems of the people feeling forced. If they feel ready, they won't have felt bullied. So, as a future educator, so let's ask a question if your learner is ready to listen to the next topic or if they are not ready to your lessons and because they they not forget or they not move on the past lesson, so you can go back to your past lesson. So that's all my report or my demonstration for today. Thank you and God bless.